There are only 4 races left to go until we crown a champion, and Duncan Ward goes into these last 4 races with the largest point lead anyone has had in the Wawa Cup Series chase at this point. But will he be able to hold on to it in these last 4 races? We've got Richmond here today, Daytona, Homestead, and Darlington to decide it all. And Duncan Ward starts in the outside pole here at Richmond for 100 laps in the last short track race of the season. We're closing in. It's the last few weeks of the season in the Wawa Cup Series, and here we are in Richmond, Virginia. The Southern States 400, race 29 of the season in the Wawa Cup Series. Hello everybody, this is AG here, and welcome to the Richmond Raceway here in Richmond, Virginia. It's the last short track race of the season here in the Wawa Cup Series for 2025. And we are really intrigued at what will happen in this championship battle, because you got the top 2 drivers in points starting on the first 2 rows in the outside lane. You know how that outside lane can be at certain racetracks, so how will that affect Duncan Ward and Daniel Paulus Jr., who are separated by 20 points coming into this race? And Duncan Ward is in the driver's seat to take a hold of this championship in these last 4 races. Got ourselves this wild card short track race here today, and then we got the ultra wild card race at Daytona next week. And Matt, you got your driver in the middle of that championship battle. He starts there in the 4th position here today. What was your message to Daniel going into this one in his attempts to close back in on Duncan Ward in this championship?
Well, I mean, it's, there's 4 races left. Obviously, anything can happen. Anything can happen here. You have a wild card next week at Daytona, and then 2 races after that are much more traditional, and we know how fast the 54 is. But, it's pretty simple. You have to outscore the 54, or you have to outscore the 23 by about 5 points a race for the last 4 races of this, or 6 points a race, 5.5, 6 points a race. Unfortunately, that's so far not mathed out. Take out the 2 road courses for us, so it's definitely going to be a pretty rough uphill battle. But SVG won a race from 2nd today, so clearly anything is possible. Should be interesting here, and it'll be. They got Logan Williams to pass here too, and we know he wants to get a win here on his way out, and not for nothing. If those 2 guys mess around, the 23. And the 54 mess around here today and do something where they end up in the back of the pack and the 95 doesn't, he's right here to pounce.
He is, and he's 53 points behind in this championship. He's still very much in contention if something happens to our main championship contenders, and we've seen that happen to a lot of the championship contenders of the past. Just take Ludovic Charette, for example, this season. Blew an engine at Dover, had race damage at Iowa that cost her a lot of time on the pit lane. If those 2 things didn't happen, she'd be up there with Paulus and Ward, and I know Stewart doesn't want me to say that, but that's just the truth of it, and that's what makes it so hard to win a Wawa Cup Series championship, because you have to be good in those last 10 races, and Duncan Ward has done that, as you see right there. 20 points on Daniel Paulus Jr. coming into this race here today. Isaac Nichols is 28 points behind. He starts 9th, so he's also up there as well, and he could very much keep this in range. And think about it, Daytona could very well go. Isaac Nichols wins the race, and then Duncan Ward, Daniel Paulus Jr. wreck out. That is a very likely scenario. Not to say that that will happen, but Daytona is a huge wild card that's going to mix everything up, and if you keep it within a race win worth of points going into that race, you're still very much in contention for this championship. And Logan Williams knows that as well, 53 points behind. So does Kirsten Bell, starts 6th here today. She is 35 points behind coming into this race. And Ludovic Charette still very much has a chance as well if things go crazy here. If she has a good run at Daytona next week after having a good run here today at Richmond, 61 points behind, she could still pull it off if things go a certain way. So we'll have to see how this race plays out. We'll have to see how next week plays out especially. And then Homestead and Darlington, 2 races where we kind of expect a certain rhythm with what's going to happen. But even then, we never know what's going to happen when you go to racetracks such as that. So we're here at the first unknown, and this is the Richmond Raceway. 100 laps here today. We will have a cycle of pit stops, and we'll have to see how that ends up shaking out, because if we get a wreck during that cycle, that could completely change things in terms of who's been dominant and who hasn't been, and we can end up with some guys who fall back because of it. We've seen that happen a couple times this season. It's a very difficult pit lane to enter. I think a lot of these guys are hoping for a caution to come out somewhere around that lap 40 mark, because then they'll be able to make it to the end of the race from that point. Roughly about a 60-lap fuel run here today at the Richmond Raceway. Qualifying yesterday saw Logan Williams win the pole. That's his second pole of the season there for Appalachian Motorsports. And, of course, this team won last week at Watkins Glen with Trey Wright. Alongside Logan, it is our championship leader, Duncan Ward, starting in the second position. You got Andrew Miller in the 86 to the inside of Daniel Paulus Jr. in row number 2. And then Laura Chung and Kirsten Bell round out the Fast 6. Brad Stover, that is Andrew Miller's teammate at Durrani Racing, up to 7th to start this race. That might be his best starting position all season, alongside Ludovic Schret there in row number 4. And then Isaac Nichols and Travis Crampton round out the top 10 starting positions. You see the outside lane as all 6 chase drivers, all 6 of the chase drivers were top 6 in Group B yesterday in qualifying. Nathan Smith starting at 12th. Same cannot be said for those who were on the inside lane, Avery Alford and Jack Haas. Jack Haas especially very, very deep in the field. And we mentioned yesterday that those drivers who started deep in the field were going to end up with the pit stalls that had a bit of a slow stop there. We switched things around in that, and Jack Haas is going to be in one of those trouble pit stalls, so not at all a good run for him in qualifying, and it's going to be an uphill climb for the driver of the number 39 here today at Richmond. But we'll see how much of an uphill climb it's going to be for Logan Williams and Duncan Ward. Let's go ahead and get these drivers to roll off here from the Southern States 400 at Richmond. And Matt, you see who's up front here? And we've seen all these guys, except for Logan Williams, go to victory lane this season. Who do you think is going to get it done here in the Southern States 400, race 29 of the season?
Later's going to be the meltdown I'm going to schedule to have after the race recording ends if I don't win. Honestly, I'll go Logan Williams to win. I've picked him a few times throughout the season to win a race. He's come so close. He's got to get the job done here today. And Appalachia back-to-back wins in the chase would also be something I would really like to see.
I think a lot of folks would like to see it. We all love Caleb. Of course, it's the last season of Appalachian Motorsports because Caleb taking the bigger role on the channel with things. So let's send them out in style here. We'll see if that ends up happening. 4 races left to go in the season, and this is race 29, and it's underway here from the Richmond Raceway in the Southern States 400. Well, Logan's going to lead lap number 1. How about Daniel Paulus Jr. wasting no time getting around his championship rival, at least attempting to do so for the 3rd position. I know you like to see that, Matt, and he is going to clear Duncan Ward there for 3rd. You got Laura Chung there in 5th. Brad Stover holding on to 6th, getting around Kirsten Bell, but here comes Isaac Nichols, 3rd in the championship standings to the inside of Brad Stover for that 6th position. And Andrew Miller, a great start for him as well. That's Stover's teammate right on the back bumper of Logan Williams, who's still out front here on lap number 3.
Yeah, Logan Williams immediately under pressure here. I think he knew he was going to be under pressure, but I think he thought it was going to be a 54 to 23. Andrew Miller's car is coming to life here very quickly, and this is a guy who, wash away the chase. He's had a very good season. He's done a great job carrying this team. Oh, that is not what we want to see here this early in the race. Stover being put on the outside lane is Matthew Huber moving his way through the field very quickly. But Andrew Miller, this is a great run to see, and this is a guy I definitely... Oh, are we under caution?
Oh, we are. Angel Gutierrez is around in the back.
Oh, Jack.
And I don't know if Jack got caught up in that or not. Rogel Dorn might have been caught up in that, and Nicholas Samadio was definitely caught up in that. Some damage on the 59, and someone else got spun around. Fitzwater's got damage in the 99. And, next week at Daytona, we might be anticipating some of those guys running up front who have not run up front yet this season, like Fitzwater and LJ Samedo. Those guys have a lot of good success on the speedways. Bernardo de Oliveira is also on the pit lane as well, but none of our race leaders coming down right here. Going to give ourselves a restart early on here in this Southern States 400. So Logan Williams, he's led every lap so far. Gonna have to fend off a restart with Andrew Miller, Daniel Paulus Jr., Duncan Ward, and Laura Chung behind him. First, let's go ahead and see what happened to bring out the first caution of the day here at the Richmond Raceway in the Southern States 400. Well, this all starts with what I presume to be a tire failure on the Zero of Bernardo de Oliveira. See him kind of slowing down there. Nicholas Amadio, Braden Perez have nowhere to go. Drew Webb might get sideswept just a little bit right there. And outside lane gets held up, and you're going to have these guys on the inside come in here. And it's actually Jack Haas in the 39. He gets into Samadio through the corner. All these guys trying to cut back down and get around the Zero of de Oliveira. And then you got all these guys who are trying to gain positions because of it. And Samadio's like, I'm going to try to come. Actually, Perez kind of got into Samadio, and then Jack Haas was coming, and that was it. And LJ Samedo, he actually does evade that one, but Angel Gutierrez does not. And the 36 going to get into Samadio right there. A hard hit on Samadio for Angel Gutierrez. And Rogaldorn and Zachary Fitzwater as well. And that's where Fitzwater got his damage in all of that. And Rogaldorn, I think, also got significant damage as well in the 74. Tough break for those guys involved in the back. And just the way it goes, not much room to maneuver around and avoid something like that on a racetrack such as this here at the Richmond Raceway.
You ever watch the Zero? I mean, he wiggled. He wiggled, definitely. There was a problem. And some people reckon, I just don't know, Mr. Samadio, if that was the best move to make right there. And Jack Haas didn't have anywhere to go. And we have a bunch of cars junked fairly early on here in the going of this race.
No one came down the pit lane, and Logan Williams is still out front in the 95. So let's see what he does on the restart here in the Southern States 400 at the Richmond Raceway. We're back here at the Richmond Raceway in the 29th race of the season. In the 2025 Wawa Cup Series, Christian Master had a tire issue go down. As you see right there, getting that fixed, he should be able to get back out there and join him in the back of the field. Logan Williams, still out front in the 95. Andrew Miller, Daniel Paulus Jr., Duncan Ward, and Laura Chung, the top five. And then you got Isaac Nichols, Blaine Keys, Matthew Hubert. This is the guy transitioning as an owner, transitioning to an owner next season. And only 4 races left to finally get a win as a driver. I know you'd love to see that, as he's the other driver on your team there. Kirsten Bell and Brad Stover round out the top 10. Nobody out of the race except for Rogaldorn in the 74. Tough break for Rogel. We're looking forward to seeing them in a good ride next week in the Truck Series at Daytona. Back underway here with 92 laps to go at the Richmond Raceway. Good restart for Logan Williams, but Andrew Miller going to pick up right where he left off, right on the back bumper of this 95.
He's got to be careful now. He got himself a nice little bit of a cushion there on the initial start of the race, but now he's got the Hungry Horde lined up behind him as a 23. He's going to try and make a move to the inside of the 54. Doesn't see a move for now. Miller's got to be careful to not slide up too much here. Now these two up here at the front who are battling for the championship, they got to keep an eye on the 6 Isaac Nichols, who is moving his way through the field. They're going to be racing Blaine Keys at some point. I mean, they're going to race Matthew Huber at the pace that he's shown here early on in the going. And shout out real quick to Avery Alford, who's absolutely soaring his way through the field very early on after a tough qualifying effort.
And Avery passed Ledovic's red. Ledovic's also slipping back just like Brad Stover. They started on the same row, and they continue to fall back at Hallie Anderson Jr. And Zane Davison is trying to win the Uncharted Championship. He qualified much better than Darian Arnsdorf, and you see Arnsdorf a little ways back there in the field. And Nicholas Samadio back down the pit lane. Tough break for Nicholas, and you know, he's without a ride at the moment. We'll see where he ends up for next season. But I'm sure he'd love to see this season finally end. It's not been a good one for Mr. Edge this season, as he's getting in the Fitzwater, coming back on the racetrack there. And Duncan Ward to the inside to Daniel Paulus Jr. there for the 3rd position. Paul's going to slip back to the 4th spot. And Duncan Ward going to try to move his way back up. Here comes Isaac Nichols to the inside of Laura Chung. That is for 5th.
And Nichols looking really strong here in the early part of the going. He's taking Blaine Keys through the field here with him. Kirsten Bell's also moving her way through the field. Not entirely sure. I I have no real sources to confirm this, but definitely interested to see where she ends up. Obviously, her sponsor's not going to be back next year, so that's going to be interesting to see. Tanner Parton's moving his way through the field also, but for the lead, Andrew Miller.
Around Logan Williams for the top position, and Miller out front here at the Richmond Raceway on lap 15. Pass was made on lap 14. But that 86 looks locked in here today at Richmond, and a very quick car there for Ryan Racing. And I think the comparison can be made is how well Brad Stover qualified in the 78. We know Brad's not had a good season, but that thing was fast in qualifying, and he's not doing too bad. He is still slipping back a little bit down to 13th now from where he started in 7th. But his teammate is out front in the 86 machine. Last driver in the championship, or in the chase standings currently. And when we were at Iowa, Nathan Smith was the last one in the chase standings, and he ended up getting that win in Iowa. So we'll see what Andrew Miller can do as this race goes along. It's still very early on in this race, lap 17 of 100. And Daniel Paulus Jr. is not letting Duncan Ward go easy. He's right back on the back bumper of this 23 machine. I know he'd love to get around him and get all those guys behind him to pass the 23 as well.
Yeah, he needs to time the braking of the train here to where he's not the one who gets completely shuffled out, because somebody in this line, if you slide it up a little bit, there's going to be a car or two or three who's ready to go. And if you're Daniel Paulus Jr. right now, you can't afford to be that guy who gets shuffled back, because that would just be, I mean, you can't afford it. It's simple as that. We are not in a we're in a points hunch where the 23, you have to beat him every single week here, and if you don't start beating him today, I mean, it's throw in the towel on that, but still with him right now. Car looks pretty good here. Isaac Nichols is staying with him. What a weird weekend that was for the 6 at Watkins Glen. Put it on the pole, was gapped before he even, we talked about the outside, or the pole sitter not getting good starts at Watkins Glen. He didn't even lead to the start-finish line. Had no pace, but he's got pace here today. And if something happens, I mean, he's only 28 back. And we talk about Paulus, but it's not over here for Isaac Nichols either.
It isn't, especially considering next week, if he gets a good run there, keeps it close with Duncan Ward here today, he's still going to have a very good opportunity at it, and we'll just have to see how the Parker Davis team ends up going. Here's last year's winner at Richmond, Blaine Keys, in the 32 machine. Won this race with Racing Motorsports last year. Of course, he's already won twice this season in the chase. And I think, I don't know, have you done a Cancun Cup update lately? Regardless of the fact, I think Blaine's probably up there and still leading that. But in terms of the best of the rest, he's got himself 51 points in Alex Amatali for the drivers who have missed the chase this season. So it's looking like Blaine going to be the 13th driver in the standings once the season is done. And this is going to help him out right here. Going to look to the inside of Isaac Nichols for the 5th position.
You know, I did not. It's funny you say that, because I was driving home from Watkins Glen today, and I was like, I never did the update for the Cancun Cup after Watkins Glen, and I should have, because I was home yesterday. I don't have the Cancun Cup points updated. I'll try and get them done here for this race, but he's just been, I mean, you got to give the 32 credit. He has been absolutely outstanding throughout the chase. And, you know, we can talk about one race, I think, really, we didn't give it credit for how much it changed the outcome of the season. Or 2 races, Bristol and Rockingham. If he didn't blow a motor at Bristol, and if things didn't play out the way they did at Rockingham, I mean, statistically, I could be wrong, but if he made the chase, he's right. We're in a dead heat 3-way title fight, and I feel like the 32 at some races this chase has been better than both the 2 guys in front of him. So, I mean, the way things went early in the season, it came back to bite Blaine Keys, but he's shown the pace here in the chase that he definitely belongs here.
Of course, he has more wins in the chase than any other driver right now as well, and he's going to get to the inside of Paulus. Paulus just let him take that spot away. I know that's not what you want to see out of your driver, but maybe trying to save those tires up. It's not too much of a fall-off here at Richmond, but it's still enough of a significant gap that if you wear those tires out, you're not going to have a good day. And Paulus now down to the 5th position as Blaine Keys continues to move his way through the field. Andrew Miller still leads it in the 86 machine. Laura Chung there in 7th. Kirsten Bell is 8th. Tanner Parton running in 9th. You got Matthew Hubert in the 10th position. Nathan Smith, Travis Crampton. How about Carson Miller in the 50 machine? And I know a lot of team owners, especially in National Series, are going to be looking at Carson Miller. Of course, we don't have any National Series owners yet, but I know a lot of them would love to have Carson on their team because he's been a very solid driver. Brad Silver holding on to the 14th position. We got Avery Alford, Thomas Strasser, Ladovic having a tough day in this 51 machine down to, well, now 16th as she gets around Hallie Anderson Jr., but not a good day for Ladovic here. And first championship kind of ended at Iowa for her, but this is certainly not helping that cause. And they got Bryce Egan there in the number 9 machine. Leonard Kochmer, Zayden Davidson rounding out the top 20. Philip Torres, Drew Webb, Darian Arnsdorf is back in there trying to close in on Davidson, and they're only 2 points off each other in terms of the uncharted race, and whoever's highest in that will get a full-time Cup Series reserve for next season. I know a lot of the team owners are focusing on that as well. Right now, Davidson is in the driver's seat for that as someone has just blown up, and it was Nathan Smith in the 06.
Oh, no.
Oh, that's not the first time either for these guys. That is such an unfortunate turn of events for Nathan Smith. And that motor is done for the day. He's not going to get this race victory here today like he did at Iowa Speedway, unfortunately. As Blaine's gotten around, Duncan Ward for third now, and now Pauls is back on the back bumper of this 23. May actually have a shot at getting around this 23 here. We'll see. Hubert looking on Tanner Parton back there. Good run for Tanner Parton inside the top 10 for that number 97 machine. Nathan Smith is now out of the race. He's going to join Rogel in the garage, and Nicholas Samedeo 2 laps down. Everybody else still on the lead lap here. There's Brian Webb, Justin Zeidel, Bernardo de Oliveira, who was runner-up at Iowa Speedway. Not a good run for him here at Richmond. Alex Samatali, Trey Bartow, Henry Brown in the car that won last week. LJ Semedo, Roberto Crown Jr., Skep Silver, Bruno Diacomo. Jack Haas just done nothing in this race. Still in 35th as a chase driver. That is such an awful run for him. Then Gutierrez was caught up in an accident, same with Samedeo. And Chris Master got that tire fixed, but is not giving him any advantage at this point. And then Turner and Fitzwater off the pace. They're about to get lapped by Andrew Miller, who's pulled about 1 1/3 on Logan Williams for this race lead, a third of the way through the Southern States 400.
You know, one thing about Richmond that definitely makes it... I shouldn't say that. It's not a Bristol in that if you get caught behind a lap guy, you're going to need, you know, a quarter of the race to get by him. But this is not the easiest track to overtake, especially on older tires, which we are starting to get in the window where these are definitely not particularly good tires anymore. So if you are Miller, you got to be careful here to kind of time these moves and not lose too much time. Because if you get stuck behind the 99 and Jesse Turner here, Logan Williams could come right back to you very quickly. Blaine Keys might catch him beforehand anyway, the rate that he's closing. Completely gap the 23 and the 54. So you gotta be careful here if you're Andrew Miller. Nonetheless, an impressive run here for him today. I mean, he's up front here on pace, and he's just pulling on these guys. Mm-hmm. I mean, he went up there past Logan Williams. We know the threat he is on short tracks, and he just is straight pulling away. But now he's got his work cut out for him here.
Yeah, this is an interesting track. You have to work for your passes. Obviously, they can be made. You definitely got to work for them. That's what makes this racetrack as challenging as it is. And even with the lap traffic, as he's getting into the back of Fitzwater right there, can't quite get around him as Turner and Fitzwater, two seasoned veterans, had really difficult seasons here in the Wawa Cup Series. Miller's going to finally get around Fitzwater, but you see the gap there between him and Williams really closed in, but Miller's going to get both of them right here, and now he's going to have a couple guys in between him in second place. Logan Williams still holding on to that second position. He knows he's still very much in contention for this win, and he wants to get one more for Caleb Rose before this team shuts down. He wants to still have a shot at this championship as well, which this is his best season. Even though he's not gone the victory lane, it is clearly the best season he has ever had in the Wawa Cup Series based on his consistency. He's going to lose a spot, though, to Blaine. Unless Blaine gets held up by Fitzwater right here, but it looks like that inside lane is going to prevail. And how about Blaine Keys? This 32 is flying. It's one of the fastest cars we've got on the racetrack right now, and he's won here before, so no surprise to see Blaine have a good run here today. It's a shame he missed the chase because, to your point, Matt, if he made it, he'd be up there with Duncan Ward and Daniel Paul Sr. in this title fight based on the 2 wins he's already gotten in the chase so far this season.
Yeah, maybe I mean, we know he's going to blow out the rest of the competition in the King Cup. Maybe after this race, he'll just go ahead and retally the points to see where he'd be if he made the chase, because I mean this has been. I genuinely, I don't, like I said, folks, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I'm very confident that he's very in the thick of a title fight if he had made the chase. So, I mean, you got to be punching air a bit if you're Blaine Keys, because the one thing I will get, I mean, I've, you know, been very critical of Pacific Racing this year, but the one thing I will give them is, you know, we got to Darlington last year, and I just don't think he had the car for it, and that's okay. Racing Motorsports, you know, they take a direction. He would have gone to the finale this year, and he would have had a car to compete if he had been in the title fight, and that's not ideal at all.
Ideal for Daniel Paulus Jr. right there. Isaac Nichols getting to the inside of Jesse Turner, and Paulus is not happy with Turner. Almost sent him around on the front stretch. Still stuck behind the 47 right there. And Daniels is so strange. You know, he's got those 5 wins, and we all thought that he was going to break the record. Well, here we are. Now 7 races into the chase, and he hasn't even won one of the chase races yet. And we'll have to see how the rest of this race goes. We're going to lose a little bit of time right there to Nichols and Duncan. We're still far from over for him, though. Still a long time left to go in this race. They still have the cycle of pit stops, and I think that's on a lot of these guys' minds. Like, make sure it stays clean, because things can really get goofy. And maybe, too, the strategy might be you may want to stay out a little bit longer and see if that caution comes out, because that's going to give you an advantage if that ends up happening, which it is possible on these short tracks. You get a caution on a green flag cycle. Had that one wreck that happened early on, but it's been a clean race since. Kirsten Bell now stuck behind these guys, and they're jamming up a little bit behind. How about Carson Miller? Up to the top 10 now, and the 50 machine got around Matthew Hubert on the back bumper of Tanner Pardon, now going for 9th.
Carson Miller's been, I mean, Appalachian Motorsports as a whole, I don't know. I don't know where this pace has come from on their second, third, fourth, their second, third, and fourth cars, because their 4th car just went to victory lane before their other 3 cars did. I mean, you gotta give them credit as a whole. They've stepped it up in the past few weeks. And Isaac Nichols, he gets by the 23 and the 6, and I think, or the 23 and the 54, and I think Nichols is a guy who wishes that. You know, we had a bit more of these short tracks or short intermediate ovals here in the chase, because he gets to these shorter tracks, and he does do some really good stuff here. And once again, putting the work in here today. Andrew Miller now is going to have to put in some serious work, because he has some cars here that could definitely. He's got to figure out a way to get by some of these guys quickly, including Jack Haas, who is not somebody that I thought I would ever be saying in a Wawa Cup Series race. On pace was in the back of the field at a short track.
Yeah, that 39 has just been awful all weekend. I'm not sure what happened in developing that car, but it just ain't it. I'm wondering, too, and we have not, of course, as you know, we don't replay the wrecks on our end until after we're done the recording, so we don't know what has happened in that wreck. It is possible he sustained damage in that, and that might be why he's off the pace at the moment. But even at that point, he hadn't moved up at all, so we'll just have to see. And this is going to be an opportunity for Blaine Keys. Now we're closing in a few laps on the window. Past halfway here in the Southern States 400. Andrew Miller still leading this field, but Blaine Keys is coming for him. And Andrew Miller said he was coming for Blaine Keys, and he has. You know, he was the one who made the chase. Blaine wasn't. But Blaine does have more wins this season than that 86 does at this point. We'll just have to see how this race ends up playing out. But Andrew Miller doing everything right at this point, trying to get around Andrew Gutierrez, trying to minimize the time that he would lose to Blaine Keys at this point in the race. And Logan Williams trying to keep within it as well. These guys about 4 seconds off. And Isaac Nichols, did he come down the pit lane for a scheduled stop, or did something happen to him? Oh no,
oh,
those
brother.
Are both of the Parker Davis cars blowing up in this race. Both of them. Oh, that's going to end Isaac Nichols' chance at the title. That is such a shame for Isaac, who was running 3rd at the time, 4th at the time, I should say. And both Max Davis's cars, Nathan Smith and Isaac Nichols, blowing engines here in Richmond.
Well, someone's getting fired at the engine department tomorrow. So been nice knowing you, buddy, but you're gone. That's gonna leave the 23 and the 54. alone in the championship fight, alone in their battle on the racetrack, because unless we get a caution or they get a big-time undercut, I don't know if they're going to catch the 86 and the 32. And just like Rockingham, it's the 86 and the 32. Andrew Miller, Blaine Keys. Andrew Miller said in the offseason famously, "I'm coming for you." And you know what, to his credit, he's going to finish ahead of Blaine Keys in the championship. Oh, don't do that. Don't do that. I mean, you know, like I said, however way you want to view his chase, he got to the chase. He won a race. He's going to finish better than Blaine Keys in the championship. And once again, he's got a shot to beat Blaine Keys here outright here on the racetrack today.
Yeah, he's got to get around LJ Sameto. That 32 is coming fast. These guys sliding around as the tires are starting to give out on these guys. And, you know, there's not too much of a fall off in terms of the pace. There's still enough to make a difference with the way these guys race. And Blaine Keys is taking advantage of that right now. And these guys are going to be coming down the pit lane any moment for their pit stop. As a matter of fact, I think they might be doing so right here. Either that or Miller was just going for it there on LJ Sameto. He had a shot. He saw Blaine Keys. He's like, I got to go for it now. But Blaine's also going to make the move, and there's nothing separating our two race leaders now as Blaine is within a third of a second on this 86 machine here. Lap 59 at 100. Andrew Miller struggling to get around the lap traffic, and Blaine Keys taking advantage of all of it right there. Even Logan Williams within a second there of the race leaders. Pauls and Duncan Ward, they've been on each other this entire race. And they're the two guys up there in the championship. And Paulus, I think a win for him is just simply to finish ahead of Duncan Ward and gain more points than him. At this point, I don't know if you're really going to get Duncan Ward out of line. Next week is the chance that you can really gain on him going into the final two races, so we'll see. That ends up being the case. But as long as Danny Paulus Jr. doesn't lose anything here today, I think they're still very much in contention for this title with 3 races left to go.
Yeah, I mean, if, you know, we go to Daytona and things out of our control happen, I mean, you know, unfortunately, it just is what it is. I mean, the chase hasn't gone our way, and again, not that we're having a bad run here today. I mean, 4th is not, or top 5 run here at the moment, but, yeah, I mean, if we have to go to Daytona banking on things out of our control to happen, I mean, it's kind of just, let's try and chase down second in the Constructors, which shout out Matthew Huber. He's been putting in the work, but this battle for the race lead is about to heat up as Miller's going to put the bumper to the 14, shove him out of the way, and now Blaine Keys is right there. They're going to work their way around Justin Zeidel. This is going to get very, very sketchy in a couple of laps when the pit stop cycle opens up here and we start seeing guys fly around, because you can see... oh, here we go. Here we go. We're about to see. Leonard Koshman's going to be the first to test this out here.
Yeah, and Leonard Koshman, Braden Perez in the back of the field. There's Henry Brown, and here's our race leader, Andrew Miller. Blaine Keys is going to stay out, try to play the long game here. So if you're Andrew Miller, you're just hoping and praying, no caution, no caution. Blaine still out there. He wouldn't mind seeing that happen. And being a short track can get very messy in terms of how that all plays out. But Andrew Miller in the 86 machine, expect a 4-tire stop for all these guys right here. And also got Logan Williams there in the first pit stall. We'll see if he gains any advantage on the 86 here. They weren't too far off of each other. I think that 86 is going to get off first the way it's looking right now. And a good run there for Andrew Miller in this race. We'll have to see if he can cycle this thing through. He is going to get out ahead of Logan Williams. And they're going to be pretty close to each other, so we'll have to see if that 95 gets any advantage once this all cycles through. And Blaine's down the pit lane now as well. A little contact on the pit lane back in there, and it looks like Dovic's gotten into somebody.
Oh my.
Just keeps on getting worse for her. And here's Blaine Keys in the 32 machine. And he's still slow on the pit lane right there. I don't know if there's an issue on that car or what. A little slow. It's a little slow right there. Andrew Miller and Logan Williams are going to get out ahead. Quite a bit ahead of that 32 machine. Paulus is also going to jump him. And where is the 23 of Duncan Ward? He may actually still be out there.
Still on pit road?
Different lap time for... a different lap count, I should say, for Duncan Ward.
Where on?
There's the 23.
Oh, there he is.
And he is going to cycle... I think he's not cycle all the way through quite yet. Going to give it a second here. It's going to be Andrew Miller who will cycle to the race lead once this is all said and done. Blaine staying out those extra couple laps. A little bit of a slower stop on Blaine. That's going to hurt him right there. But Andrew Miller in control of this race. They got through the cycle. I am proud of them. They got through it without a caution. And now it's a race from here on out in the Southern States 400 at Richmond Raceway. Andrew Miller's all over the back bumper of Alex Samatali here. And second place is going to be Logan Williams. And it's about a 2-second gap right there. Third place is Daniel Paulus Jr. Fourth is Laura Chung. Then Kirsten Bell, Carson Miller. Then it's Blaine, Tanner Parton, Travis Crampton, and then Duncan Ward. Down in the 10th position. It's a 7-point gap. That'd be a 13-point lead going into Daytona for Duncan Ward, the way they currently run for Daniel Paulus Jr. And now you're just knocking on wood hoping that the same thing doesn't happen to Paulus, the GRT side, especially on the Parker Davis side. It's been a bad race for GRT here today, except for that 54 of Daniel Paulus Jr. And we'll just have to see Ladovic in the 51. Ladovic is actually just still on the lead lap, even with that damage. Run unmodified around there behind Hubert and Troxel, so... But Duncan Ward, not a good pit stop for him. Down now to the 10th position. Andrew Miller, he's losing this lead to Logan Williams. We're going to have a battle between Andrew Miller and Logan Williams for this top spot here in these last 30 laps. This lap traffic in the way, and Logan is coming fast in this 95.
Yeah, I don't know if Blaine Keys, I don't know who, what, when, where. I don't know who or what he hit on pit road, or if the stop was just absolutely abysmal.
There's a little damage to the right side of that car.
He didn't hit Ladovic Charette. That's right. I would love to know who on earth Ladovic Charette drove into the back row. I'd also love to know how the 51 got that fixed so fast. And that car is still holding pace because she's right with Matthew Huber. But shout out to 98 of Travis Crampton. I have no idea where he was before the stop. He's in the top 10. Logan Williams, he closed in a huge amount of time here, and he hit on the same lap as Andrew Miller, so he's just been working it. He's been working it, and he's gotten himself up into contention here. He needs to get by the 11 of Arnsdorf and the 59 of his teammate very, very quickly, though. And Arnsdorf's going to help with that because his teammate to the outside. You're still in this if you're Logan Williams, but you have to move very, very quickly. Because otherwise that 86 is just going to be able to keep putting cars into it. God, this just isn't got to be faster to getting through these lap cars than he is at the moment.
And Miller's got a very clear racetrack ahead of him until he gets to Henry Brown in the 90. And Williams still stuck behind Arnsdorf and San Mateo right here. And if you're Logan Williams, it's got to be very frustrating that even your teammate's not going to let you by right here, and it's a shot at the race victory. And the game knows that they're teammates. It's listed in the owners. Oh boy! Jack had enough of Jesse Turner!
Oh my! Oh!
And that's going to be close right there. The caution is out here at Richmond Raceway.
Is it? Oh, it is.
Jack is, I can imagine his frustration running with those guys here today. And this is good news for Miller to an extent. Going to be one lapped car in between him and Logan Williams on the restart right here. We only wave them around if they are ahead of the leader and behind the pace car. But if they're a lap down, they stay in that position. The race leader has earned that right to have that lap car in between him and second place based on this race going green. He got around San Mateo, Logan Williams didn't, and that's why you got to get around those lap cars. So really isn't going to change much in terms of who else will be in contention. You got Paulus in third, all the way back behind all those lap cars right there. Kirsten Bell is fourth, Laura Chung in fifth. I'm just glad none of those guys hit Turner, because that was close with Paulus and Bell and Chung and all those guys. This may play in Duncan Ward's favor, who's up to the 9th position at the moment. Going to get into the back bumper of Tanner Parton, Carson Miller, Blaine Keys, and Laura Chung right there. Late race restart here at the Richmond Raceway, and these guys got to be careful here to get back to racing. No one's going to come down the pit lane as they all got through the green flag cycle. Tire went down on Allie Anderson Jr. in the 92. Shame for her right there. So we've had 4 issues there. These guys failing to finish this race. Well, let's go ahead and see what happened. Real quick to Jesse Turner. Got spun off by Jack Haas at the exit turn number 2. About 3/4 of the way through the Southern State 400 at Richmond. Well, Jack Haas had enough of Jesse Turner. Tried to peek to the inside. Turner was not really giving him the room, and Jack was just like, you know what? I'm just going to take you right out. Thankfully, this was all that happened. No one got into Turner after this, but that 47 going to get some rear end damage from that. And then caused the yellow to fly as well. Going to give us a restart. A little close there with Paulus and those guys, but thankfully Turner kind of kept it where the car was and not come back up, and it is a technically a 2-car incident, but a 1-car incident here at Richmond Raceway to bring on our second caution of the day here at Richmond.
Well, every once in a while, you know, you got to show the back markers that you can't just be holding them up. And I know Jack Haas isn't racing for the win here today, unfortunately. But he said, Jesse Turner, I will not put up with any more of that. And he took business into his own hands. And we're going to have a late race restart here in the Southern States 400.
This could get interesting. Andrew Miller's still out front. He's been the dominant driver of the race. Logan Williams not too far behind. And you also got Paulus there in third. He's got a decent amount of lap cars in between him and second place. Here's to Bell, Laura Chung there. This could get very interesting here with a little over 20 laps to go here at the Richmond Raceway in the Southern States 400. We're back here at the Richmond Raceway. Maybe 21 laps to go here in the Southern States 400. This is always a very fascinating race. This is a little different than a lot of the other races we get. You usually get a lot of green flag runs here, long green flag runs, and that's actually very common here in real life at Richmond Raceway as well. But I think this race is usually a bit better. We'll see how tonight's Cup Series race is. I'm probably not, I don't know. I probably am not going to watch it because I'm going to be at the shore. So I'm going to be riding roller coasters on the shore instead of watching the Richmond race tonight. But you're watching this one. This is the one that's important. And it's Andrew Miller leading the field ahead of Logan Williams, who is second. That's his teammate Nicholas Samedido, a lap down. In third place is Paulus all the way back there. Kirsten Bell, Laura Chung, that's the top 5. Back underway, a good jump for Miller, and Logan's not going to waste any time getting to the inside of his teammate. And folks, we're going to have ourselves a really good race on our hands because these top two are going to be right on each other for the final 20 laps of this race. Logan's going to clear Nicholas Samedido, and now the race is on for the race victory here at Richmond Raceway between Andrew Miller and Logan Williams.
It's going to be interesting here. Sometimes I wish the game would just adapt more and maybe pit for tires late, because I would love to see them go at it here on a restart on fresh tires.
Oh, someone went around. And who was it? Wasn't one of the race leaders, and I think it was Henry Brown in the back of the field, and there's no caution. Back up front, Logan Williams trying to close into the inside of Andrew Miller for the race lead. Not able to get it, but he's right on the back bumper of this 86 machine here within 20 laps to go.
Logan's got to make a move here kind of quickly. He doesn't have to worry about the threat of Daniel Paulus, but we saw earlier in the race when this 86, after a couple laps, his car's quick early, but when he gets a couple laps on a cycle here or gets his tires reheated back up, he really can pull away here, and he doesn't have the lap traffic, but Logan knows this, and he's going to try and put the bumper to the back of the 86. Maybe do a little bit of a bump and run. Here we go.
Not quite enough yet, but he's going to have some momentum off the exit of turn 4. And will he try to dive down into turn 1 right here? Doesn't quite have it yet, but that 95 is faster. And Paulus is really closing in. I think that 54's got a lot of speed. He doesn't have anyone else battling position around him right now, which is great for him. Only downside is Duncan Ward is closing in a little bit. He's up to the 8th position now from 10th on the restart. Logan Williams trying to get his first win of the season here in the Wawa Cup Series. And he can taste it, almost taste it here today. Well, he's going to go to the inside and try to taste it. And he's got the nose of the inside. Off the exit of turn number 2, and they're side by side in the backstretch with 16 laps to go here at Richmond Raceway. To the inside now in turn number 3. And Logan Williams is going to take it back away here from the Richmond Raceway.
That 95 car, he wants to get a back-to-back here for Appalachian Motorsports in what's going to be their swan song run here as a team on the channel. And this is a guy, I think I've picked him to win a bunch of races, and every time I have, something happens. But today it looks like things are working in his favor so far, and he's starting to pull away from the 86 here. Got himself a nice little bit of breather. The lap cars didn't get around Andrew Miller either, so So you just got to keep hitting 4 corners at a time if you're Logan Williams, and don't let that 86 get close enough to put a bumper to you. And he's going to have a shot here to get Appalachia back-to-back victories in the chase. Thought Logan Williams could win in the chase. I didn't think this was how they would get back-to-back victories, but what a run they were on the past few weeks.
And they've definitely come on strong, rallied together, and Caleb, I got to give him so much credit. He's the only team owner in this series who has kept both of his drivers all 3 seasons of the Wawa Cup Series. Logan and Nicholas have been with that team since 2023, and they worked very well together in those years. And it's a shame we had to break them up. It's my fault. I'm sorry, but you know what? They're going out strong. If this can hold up for Logan Williams, it's going to be 11 laps to go next time by for the number 95. Andrew Miller there in second. Paul is still trying to get around Sam Vitale here. Kirsten Bell not too far off, and Duncan Ward's going to gain another spot here on Carson Miller. That is for 7th. So that'd be a 4-point gain, then make it 16 points going into Daytona. But still, a gain is a gain. You said an average of 5 points or 6 points a race. Well, it's easy to gain a lot of points at Daytona if one driver does not have a good race, the other one does. Of course, it's a bit of a wild card, bit of a lottery pool right there if that's the case going into that one at Daytona. But Paulus as well also was runner-up at Homestead. We'll have to see how well that race goes for him. This 54 is far from being out of this championship fight, especially if he can finish ahead of this 23 here today. Duncan Ward also got around Blaine Keys, though. So now it's 3 positions in between Paulus and Ward at the moment. But Logan Williams has a second lead on Andrew Miller within 10 laps to go here at Richmond Raceway.
Yeah, Logan Williams, I mean, he got the clean air back, and he's absolutely pulling away. I mean, won the polls, had a great weekend here, looking to cap it off and get his first victory of the season. I mean, if the 23 and the, like I said earlier in the pre-race, if the 23 and the 54 want to wreck each other in the next couple laps and do something really crazy, I mean, Logan Williams could be right in the title fight here. But we're going to get a next week Daytona. Should be the only thing I think we know is that you're going to have a hard time beating Racing Motorsports. Anything else, I really don't know what's going to happen next week at Daytona. The second Daytona race is a completely different animal from the Daytona 500, and that is Leonard Koshmer driving up to the 9th position here on pace, and that is Ludovic Charette in a modified, about to drive into the top 10 on pace. I have seen it all this year.
This has been a goofy race, to say the very least. But Logan's hoping it doesn't get any more goofy, and he just cruises to this race victory. Going to be 5 laps to go. Next time by for the Culver's machine. This car has won more than any other car at Appalachian Motorsports. And Logan looking for his 4th career win here in the Wawa Cup Series here today, and his first in the 2025 season. And with Paulus and Duncan Ward where they are, it's going to be hard for Logan to have a chance at the championship. But I think Logan's going to be very happy about this one if he can hold on for these last 4 laps. That 1.5 second lead on Andrew Miller. He is clearly faster than that 86. That 95, they got a really good adjustment on that thing after the pit stop. Because Andrew Miller was pulling away from him before that cycle, and then Logan Williams, I should say, pulled away once he got around him here. Going to be 3 laps to go next time by for Logan Williams and Appalachian Motorsports here at Richmond.
Well, somebody's got to get 3rd in the championship. Kirsten Bell's up pretty good in that regard, but Logan Williams will have a shot to definitely get up to there. Be nice if Laura Chung could maybe pass the 23, but I don't know. It is what it is.
So
pass him back, but this 95, hats off to this 95 team. I mean, they've definitely deserved a moment here in the sunshine to get a shot to get a victory here, and 1 lap to go here when he comes around to the stripe.
And Logan Williams has won at many different racetracks in the past. He takes the white flag here at Richmond Raceway. His first ever win in the Wawa Cup Series came at Nashville. He won at Darlington. He won at Gateway. And that's a little bit of a pattern right there. Those kind of smaller intermediate tracks, those short tracks, that's what we got here today is a short track. And Logan Williams is going to get his first win of 2025 in the last season of Appalachia Motorsports. It's Logan Williams getting the win here in the Southern States 400. Andrew Miller will finish 2nd. Paulus is going to finish third. Kirsten Bell and Duncan Ward moved up to fifth, but Paulus still finished ahead. It'll be 18 points for Duncan Ward going into Daytona with 3 races left to go here in the 2025 season. Laura Chung, Blaine Keys, Carson Miller, Leonard Kochmer, the top 10. Another top 10. That's 2 top 10s in a row for him. Travis Crampton will hold on to the 10th position here from the Richmond Raceway. But Logan Williams makes it 2 in a row for Appalachian Motorsports here in the Wawa Cup Series. And that's a special win right there and a very well-earned race victory as well. Those guys did everything right in this race. Even though he didn't get the most laps led, he is still going to leave here with a decent amount of points in the standings. Gonna try to close in, maybe get that 3rd position in the points. We'll see what he ends up doing. But it's still between Danny Paulus Jr. and Duncan Ward for this championship, especially after Isaac Nichols blew up. That is going to take him out of contention. Logan's going to jump Isaac after that one. No doubt about it. Isaac Nichols finishing in 40th. And what a terrible, terrible race for Parker Davis Enterprises. 40th and 41st. Both of their guys blowing up. Different issues on the engines. But regardless of the fact, they're hardly getting anything in terms of the championship here today. But Matt, that was a fun race. You got to admit, it was a very entertaining race. And Daytona is going to be a different animal in this one, but what are your takeaways here at Richmond and what Logan Williams and that team in Appalachian Motorsports has done here today in this 29th race of the season?
No, that was definitely I think I'm probably more entertained than most people are by races that'll play out like this, where like you get a nice battle, you get a guy or two who definitely is head or shoulders above the rest, and then it's kind of everybody else fighting for, and putting on really good fights here today. But Logan Williams, like you said, he's going to jump Isaac Nichols. I guess the silver line, we're going to jump the PDE in the constructors, so I guess that's kind of cool with Huber coming home in 15th. Not a great run, but a good run. Kochmer and Miller, 2 guys putting in some really strong work here today. So there's definitely some guys who haven't maybe had as good a runs throughout the chase or over the past few months, putting in some good runs here. And back-to-back victories for Appalachian Motorsports. Not the way that I thought they were going to get it, especially after last week, but great to see Logan Williams find himself in victory lane. You never know. Darlington plays out a little bit differently. He's won the Southern 500 before also. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't count him out to have a maybe, what a story that would... What a story it would be if Nicholas Samadillo could find speed just one last time for Appalachia and win that race. But title fight goes on another week as well. So, a lot of interesting things in play with this race.
Definitely a unique one. This may just be the most normal race that we have until the end of the season. We'll have to see how the rest of them go. We know that next week's going to be a totally different ball game, and we're going to see different faces up front in that Valvoline 400. We just don't quite know how it's going to go, but whenever we get to this race, we know it's very, very different than what the Daytona 500 was. Because these guys are so deep into the ratings at this point that there is a difference on those cars, a difference on those drivers and how they race. We saw a lot of the championship contenders lose the draft last year in the Valvoline 400. So we'll see if that ends up being the case again with Paulus and Duncan Ward. We'll just have to see if one gets many more positions over the other, because that could very well happen. Paulus could very well have a good run. Duncan Ward could fall back, but the opposite could also happen. I know you don't want to see that, but we're just going to have to see how it ends up shaking out. Still an 18-point lead for Duncan Ward going in the 3 races left to go. This championship is far from over. Take a look once again at the rest of the results right there. And what a race here from Richmond Raceway. It was a fun one. Very, very fun race, and I'm glad it all played out. Nothing too goofy ended up happening on the pit cycle. I'm always worried about that on these short tracks. Well, it's the last short track of the season, so I don't have to worry anymore. We got Daytona, Homestead, and Darlington to crown a champion. And we will be crowning a champion 2 weeks from tomorrow in the Southern 500. We're almost there. 2 races next weekend. We got the Valvoline 400 on Friday night, and then the Celsius Tropical Vibe 400 from Homestead on Sunday afternoon, August 24th. It is going to be one heck of a weekend because we got the Lenovo Pro Series starting up on Tuesday. The Turkey Hill Truck Series is back on Thursday. The Valvoline 400, the Homestead race, the IndyCar finale is next week as well. just keep it here at AG the channel. We've got something every day of the week, even with the Pro Series in Milwaukee on Monday. And hey, Logan Williams would love to get that. That's one of his home racetracks. And we'll just have to see if he does have a good run on Monday in the Pro Series. Well, hey, thank you guys so much for watching once again. Huge thanks to Matt Tuck for joining me, as always, here for the Wawa Cup Series. And here are the point standings after 29 races here in the 2025 season. Congratulations to Logan Williams and Appalachian Motorsports for getting it done here in the Southern States 400. And we will see you guys on Friday night, the Valvoline 400 at Daytona. I will see you guys later.